Trying to avoid the cold weather.
Good evening and welcome to the special meeting of the Lawrence City Council. Today is Monday, July 7th, 2025. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Act of 2022, this meeting will be hybrid, allowing participation both in person in the City Council chambers and remotely. The Zoom link for this meeting was provided to anybody that requested through the clerk's office. This meeting is also being transmitted live through the Lawrence City Council Facebook page, as well as the Lawrence City Council YouTube page. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilor Levy?
Present.
Councilor LaPlante?
Present.
Councilor Luzon?
Present.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Present.
Councilor Santiago?
Present.
Councilor Mamo?
Present.
Councilor Reyes?
Present.
Council Vice President Infante is noted as absent. Council President Rodriguez?
Present. Councilor Vice President Infante might join us later on during the meeting. I would like to call for a moment of silence to honor Tony Hajar. He was a school public safety officer for the city of Lawrence, and also, very important, he was a volleyball coach for the Lawrence Public Schools. So please join me in a moment of silence. Now join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
This is a huge. I think so.
All right, we have, this is a special meeting for today, but we are trying to entertain a few other items that were in front of us. Today we're going to start with public hearings. Oh. Public hearings, item 23325. Madam Clerk, please read the notice. Oh, before we continue, we haven't get to the public hearing yet. We're going to public participation, and we have the first name that we have is H. Mali. Please name and address for the record. The rules for public participation are as follows. Please refer to this council as a whole. It's a suggestion, not to any individual councilors. You're gonna have 2.5 minutes to speak. At the 2-minute mark, you're gonna hear a beep or an indication that you still have 30 seconds. You may continue.
Homoyun Mali, 53 Chester Street. Good evening, honorable members. We the citizen proud to support Lawrence Police Officers Union. Lawrence Police, this union of pride and honor, with the impeccable leadership by Honorable Chief Morris Aguilar, doing excellent job to protect our citizens. Lawrence Police, one of the best police departments in the nation. Thank you for making Lawrence a safe city. Million thanks to our DPW workers for working so hard to make Lawrence a beautiful city. Lawrence Inspection Department employees, thank you for your great job. We must hire more inspectors. Lawrence Public School, with the impeccable leadership by Honorable Superintendent Ralph Guerrero, on the road to become the best public school in the nation. Lawrence teachers, we are proud of you. Because of your hard work, our children have best education. Lawrence always is strong. Lawrence always unite. We are proud, our veterans. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your bravery. We must hire 2 vacant positions for our veterans department. We must create the best commission on elder. We, the Laurentian, pray for the safety of all police officers and the first responder. Police officers, thank you for your courage. Thank you for your service. Laurentians are proud to see the new Lawrence Police Building, this majestic architectural innovation to home the best police department in the nation. Lawrence Police, the shining superstar in the sky of Lawrence.
Thank you. All these names are going to be submitted for the records. We're proceeding with public hearings. Item 23325, review and approval of the annual application of to the hub for the Community Development Block Grants, CDBGs, in the amount of $1,638,713, and the home grants in the amount of $835,894.17. Madam Clerk, please read the notice.
Document number 233-25. Notice is hereby given that the Lawrence City Council will hold a public hearing on Monday, July 7th, 2025, at 7 p.m. at a public meeting in the Lawrence City Council Chambers, 200 Common Street, Lawrence, Mass. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting will be hybrid, allowing participation both in person in the City Council chambers and remotely via Zoom. To receive access codes for remote participation, contact the city clerk at eileen.bernal@cityoflawrence.com or 978-620-3232 prior to the meeting. The purpose of the hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed annual action plan for fiscal year 2026 for the City of Lawrence, Mass. As follows. The Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, is in the estimated amount of $1,638,713, and home grant in the estimated amount of $835,894.17. A copy of the proposed FY 2026 HUD Annual Action Plan and proposed budget referenced herein may be examined, viewed, and copied at the Office of Planning and Development, 360 Merrimack Street, Entrance K, Unit 270, Lawrence, Mass., and at the Office of the City Clerk, Room 107, 200 Common Street, Lawrence, Mass. Any business day during normal business hours. Documents are also available at the city's website at www.cityoflawrence.com. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Anybody from the public that wishes to speak?
Good evening, councilors. Sue Fink, 6 Rockwood Lane, also the Office of Planning and Development. At the Budget and Finance Committee, Council President asked if I could do a brief overview of what CDBG and home are, so I'm here to do that. So the Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, is a federal block grant administered by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and it provides annual grants to entitlement communities, cities, and counties based on a formula to address a wide range of community development needs with the focus on benefiting low to moderate income individuals. All CDBG activities must meet one of 3 national objectives: benefiting low and moderate income individuals, preventing or eliminating slums or blight, or addressing urgent needs. A wide range of activities are eligible, including housing, infrastructure, economic development, public services, public facilities, and administration. CDBG requires citizen participation in planning and decision-making processes, ensuring that low and moderate income individuals have a voice in how funds are used. And entitlement communities develop their own program and funding priorities, but must adhere to CDBG regulations and national objectives. The Home Investment Partnership Program, or HOME program, is a federal block grant administered again by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, designed to create and maintain affordable housing for low and very low income families. It provides funding to states and local governments, known as participating jurisdictions, to support a wide range of affordable housing activities. Home funds can be used for various activities, including new construction, rehabilitation of existing housing, acquisition of housing, tenant-based rental assistance, assistance to home buyers, and administration. At least 15% of home funds must be invested in housing owned, developed, or sponsored by CHODOs, which are qualified nonprofit organizations. The home program is designed to be flexible, allowing states and local governments to address their specific affordable housing needs and challenges. Thank you.
Anybody else from the public that wishes to speak? Public hearing is now closed. Councilors, what's the motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
There is a motion to approve, properly second discussion. Any discussion? Sue, thank you again for being here, and you've been very helpful for providing information to this council.
You're welcome.
There was an email that was sent, I don't know if you received it, the entire council received when it comes to the HUB grant. All the, related to that home grant from last year. I don't know if you were able to, but there was some information requested by me related to this item in order to maintain, to keep the discussion fluent. Have you received that email at all? Or have you heard about any petition of information related to that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. You were not CC on the email. You
No.
were not CC on the
Okay.
email, so I was hoping that you brought that information over since it was requested by me, one of the council members, and it was related to how the grant is being managed when it comes to different items.
Okay.
So you don't have no information whatsoever?
I'm sorry, I don't.
No, that's fine. Councilors, any other questions in related to this item?
Council President,
Councilor Luzon.
thank you, Council President, through you. Director, any priority the question is if the administration has any priority for the funds, for the CDBG funds. Sometimes they are allocated to English as a second language or any other priority.
So there weren't any specific priorities set for those would fall under the public service. It was a general RFP for public service activities.
Okay, so the mayor's office doesn't have a specific priority?
Not that we were told, no.
Okay. And through you, Council President,
Councilor Luzon.
and I think I asked these questions when we were talking about the ARPA funds, I think. From the agencies that receive money from ARPA funds, how many of those agencies will be able to apply for the CDBG funds?
The CDBG funds are available to any nonprofit organization, whether they received ARPA funds or not.
Or not, okay. But do you see, knowing that, well, no, you answered my question. Thank you,
You're
Director.
Any other councilors? Councilor Plant?
Was there a CDBG advisory board like we've had in years past?
Yes, I can tell you who was on that.
Was there anybody on the council on that advisory board?
No.
Okay.
Historically, it has been.
The members of the CDAB were Nilsa Caraballo, Filbert Ferreira, and Francesca Lisbeth Nival.
Friends. Council President?
Yeah, wait. Councilor Plant has the
Yeah,
floor.
so they acted as the advisory board like they have in the past, so they would review all the proposals, and then they would go ahead and provide guidance or their recommendations to the mayor directly or through the
So
department.
they would provide their recommendations to our department, and our department presented their recommendations to the mayor.
Were there any changes from what, this is always a question that we have, right? Which is, sometimes we get recommendations that get changed. Were there any changes?
There were some minor changes, moving money. One organization was advised recommended for 14,000, the mayor increased it to 15,000. Another organization was recommended for 7,500, the mayor increased it to 10,000. One organization was recommended for 24, and the mayor reduced it to 20. And those were the only changes.
And just ballpark, when did the advisory board meet to review these roughly? I'm not looking for necessarily a specific date.
So the applicants did a presentation to the CDAB on February 13th, and then the CDAB met on February 19th to make their recommendations. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Council President.
Is that me? No, I was gonna take it.
You want to take it?
The senior.
sure?
Councilor LaPlante, senior.
Laugh too much. I have a few questions, and I have, when it comes to this fund, specifically the home grant funds that we have in the past, there has been programs that has been funded through this grant, including the funds related to the first-time home buyer,
Yes.
and also allocating part of that fund, but also allocating part of the ARPA fund that we have in the past. Am I correct?
So there were no upper funds for
For the program?
for down payment.
So the program that we currently funded for the first-time home buyer is just home grant funds, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So essentially, I asked a question related to these funds. I haven't get the answer, and my intention was to have more clarity for me to take or consider these funds or voting in favor of these funds, due to the fact that potentially there is an issue of using the funds for things that me personally I haven't voted in favor of, and that comes to be it happened to be the advertising of those programs that, if I remember correctly, those funds are not exceeding $600,000 when it comes to that specific program, correct?
Correct.
I remember back then, 2017, 2018, that we allocate closely to 250,000 every year. So it happened to be that this year, I don't know the amount we have, but I have seen that we promoting those grants like if we have $2-3 million, because we have big boards, at least 4 that I have seen, and essentially my intent of voting for these grants is not necessarily to use it for that type of promotion if we don't have that much money.
If I could respond to that.
Yeah.
Home funds were not used to pay for those billboards. That is not allowed.
That was one of my questions.
Yes.
And then my following question was that I wish that I have that so I can make a proper determination when it comes to voting for these funds. My following questions were, what was the funds? I mean, what fund did the administration use to pay for these billboards promoting these specific home grant funds for first-time home buyer?
It's being paid for out of the APA free cash publicity account.
What was that account again?
APA free cash publicity.
Public City?
Publicity.
Oh, ARPA fund. And by any chance, do you know that, how much money we have on that account?
Off the top of my head, I don't. I'm sorry.
Can you provide that information tomorrow?
Certainly.
You see, that's the thing, like, if you can find it for tomorrow, I mean, I have sent that email, I'll say, quite some time ago, less than a week, to be fair. and I haven't received that, and I actually include that a specific portion of, you know, bringing light to the discussion when it comes to this specific funds, because I know that we're promoting that specific program. And I also have seen that we're promoting another, through the billboard, we're promoting another LED program that's about $7 million
Correct.
funds. That's more significant to do any type of promotion like that. But I was wondering, like, if the governor of the state of Massachusetts do that the same technique or the same policy promoting that, we're gonna have billboards all over the place for other programs that they promote. So essentially, that's basically what I'm skeptical of when it comes to me voting for this, and I have never voted against this. But it's like, are we going in the direction of every time we have $400,000 for a program to promote it through billboards all over the city? It's like, are we using we using the funds that we have to promote to promote programs or to actually help out? It's like, that's my doubt when it comes to this situation.
So I think the intent of that is to reinvigorate the down payment assistance program. We've had very little interest in the program over the past several years. I think we might have done 1 or 2 down payment assistance consistently over the past 2 to 3 years. So we're looking to sort of, you know, reinvigorate the program, get people to be aware that we do have these funds available for income eligible first-time home buyers, and hopefully we have a pot of money sitting there that's been sort of stagnant, and hopefully this would get some interest and get that money moving.
So essentially, on the last 1-2 years, we have only issued one payment? 1 or 2 payments to
per year,
people?
yeah.
Less than 50,000, because I hear that you guys increased it to 50,000 this year.
Correct.
So essentially, every time we allocate funds to that account, but we're not giving it out for multiple reasons.
Right.
It could be any reasons.
I think that the price of housing is really what has unfortunately driven the lack of interest. Prices have gone up dramatically over the past several years, and low-income people are having a hard time becoming eligible to purchase a home because they just don't have enough funds to become eligible for a mortgage, and perhaps by putting a larger down payment down, we're able to help people.
Mr. LaPlante, I would like to hear from the administration.
Mr. Spanner?
Yes.
I think the council president would like to hear
No,
anything you might
You
want to
get
add
close
to it.
to, I hear that you have
I'm here
something to
to
offer.
support. If there's any question, there's 2 things. I believe during the presentation, the budget presentation, the department director did mention this program. And I think Ms. Fink eloquently explained the reason why people are not participating. But it's also part of our, when we came before you in concerning the ARPA funding, the allocation and the distribution, one of the items that was presented to you was that we wanted to do as much outreach that we can. I mean, some people, even having the document they receive at home, or they go to the Office of Planning and Development, they're still not sure of how the program works and that it's made available.
Through you, Councilor LaPlante, I would like to ask the administration, when it comes to these funds, the ARPA funds for publicity, that was something that was presented to us just like that on the ARPA fund allocation, or that was something that you guys determined to use on that way?
I mean,
when
we didn't
approved the funds?
specifically say that it was going to be used for home or CDBG, but it was a
No, but
general.
publicity.
Sorry?
In general, publicity.
Yes, in general publicity it was, yes.
Do you mind sending us that
Definitely.
specific location? Because, I mean, from the top of my head, I can't remember.
Yes, we can. It was submitted to you as part of it, because we always go back, because it was a policy document that was submitted to you and was requested, I mean, not through this body, but the previous city council that approved it, that you wanted it itemized, so
Yeah,
every
yeah.
expense.
No, just wondering out of that, if that was part of the $60 million ARPA funds, or that was part of the $4.7 million ARPA fund for different programs around the community, or what section of that was?
No, it was part of the ARPA funds when it was presented to you, the $60 million.
Okay.
Yes, but I
Just-
provided to you.
Yeah, yeah. Through you, Councilor Plant, I would like, are you gonna stay here for another item?
I'm gonna stay because I have staff here. We have staff here, so we want to see each one of the items if there's any other questions.
Okay.
that-
Eventually, I would like to take a point of personal privilege.
Okay, are there any other Councilor Reyes?
I want to give you a comment because I receive a lot of good comment about the promotion, because sometimes our community mention we not be transparency with the fund we put through fair home buyers. So I'm so glad to see our constituent calling, I'm be ready to buy my home, what is the next step? So I'm so happy to see this kind of promotion to announcement what we have in our community.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
And Councilor, if I may say, and it's an invitation to all of you, yes, we do have our challenges, like any other administration. But some of this information, and I hope we're going to talk to the director, that it could also be shared with you, because basically you represent your constituents as well, which is, it's one Lawrence. And some people are unaware of these programs and do not know how they qualify for the program. So I just sent an email, text to our director to make sure that information is also shared with you.
Anyone else?
Uh,
Councilor Luzon?
Thank you. And would you, Director Fink, what is the exact amount put aside for the home buyer program? What is the exact amount?
So in the document before you,
Yes.
$100,000,
So it's basically for two families.
correct.
So
But we
we are-
have an
go ahead.
existing pot of funds that is just over $400,000.
So $400,000 and thank you for bringing light to all these questions, for your response, but the amount of money, well, not the amount of money, because we don't know how much money the administration spent on the billboards that we see in the city. Do we have that information by any chance, advisor?
Well, we don't have it with us, but we can request it and share that information with you, but we must have it, obviously. Yeah.
Okay, so yes, make it that a formal request. Unless you're using the, how's it called? What is it called? Where
Billboards.
the billboard, unless that is being used for free. No, it's not being used for free?
It's not going to be used for free, no.
I know why I'm asking that. It sometimes, well, I'm not going to go into that. But my question is, the amount of money set aside for the first home buyer program, it's so little. So we are talking about maybe how many families in total? You say 400,000,
10 families.
10 families. 10 families. Put it in, I'm going to put that next to the promotion. That's why we're having so many questions, because it looks like that the promotion is based on a political advertisement instead of sending, and don't get me wrong, I know you guys, I know your department, and I respect your work, you know that, Director Fink, and sometimes what the administration is doing, sometimes you, as a director of the department, don't have a say. But the amount of money that we have available, it doesn't match this billboard. And I would like to know how much we spend, how much the city spend there. because we're talking about a few families. So we are sending information out, yes, we are, but the amount of calls that you're gonna receive are gonna be too many for the amount of money that you have put aside. And I know you've been doing this for a year, and I respect your work, 'cause you know that. But I mean, it's still, it doesn't make sense for the amount of money that we have available. Yes, we can help a family, so a little bit more than that, but it looks like that we have $1 million put aside for all these families that are gonna be making calls. And I understand your explanation, but I hear differently. I hear people wanting to buy houses in the city because the rent is too high. It's not affordable. So for some of the families that I represent, the option is to buy a house because it's gonna cost them less than a mortgage. A mortgage is gonna be less than paying rent. So just to put it out there, and yes, I would like to see how much money the administration spent on that huge billboard that we have in the city. Thank you. Thank you.
If there's no other questions, we are now approaching 1 hour. It's 8 o'clock, and it's our first item. I'd like to move the question unless someone hasn't spoken and wishes to speak. Councilor Del Rosario.
Thank you, through you, Councilor LaPlante. Something that come out to my mind, if the billboard wouldn't have Brian De Pena's picture, would us read the message? What is reading the message, right? I complained when they were searching for the superintendent, which they put a billboard all the way up on 495, right? A huge billboard, they spent tons of money. The participation of the people was less, extremely low. Parents didn't know that we were searching for a superintendent because it was placed all the way facing 495. To me, it was pursuing, they didn't want anybody to see it, right? So if we take Mayor Brian De Pena pictures out, I think we would have a different impact. That's how I feel. Also, things that you guys don't know. People doesn't want to apply for those funds, you know what it is? Because in the past 2 years, there's been a persecution of information, and those names comes out, and the people try to tie them up with whoever they have relationship, either counselors, mayor's office, or whatever, and they says, look who's getting the money. People relating to people, so people are not applying for those. People are not getting those because people don't want to be exposed. They have been in the past 2 years. But again, if we're going to do that thing, administration, do it, take the mayor's Brian De Pena out, put the names on the bottom, and take his pictures out, because that's what's bringing all this. It's nothing else. I mean, I love the message that we sending. I didn't see Mayor De Pena's picture, to be honest. It was what you say, Ms. Finn, that you try to engage with the people and let the people know that we have those funds. Because people don't go to the website to get it. People don't go to your office to get it. But when they see those signs, they read it, and they get the message. And that's all I want to say. Thank you.
We're looking to move the question.
I have a
Councilor
comment.
Santiago has not spoken. Councilor Santiago.
My comment is about the information some councilors are requesting about where is the money, where it come from, because some program like a small business grant was distributed last few months ago. Me personally, I request some information about who won a small business got those grants. I didn't receive that. Maybe that's for is for that reason or similar reason they are requesting who is they are requesting the information.
I don't know why you weren't given that information. We can certainly get that to you.
Seeing that everyone has spoken, I'll call the question at this point.
I'll make a motion to table.
There is a motion to table. It's been properly seconded by Councilor Santiago. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Roll call vote.
This is on a motion to table.
Can we do this question?
Councilor Reyes. Councilor Marmol.
Yes.
Councilor Santiago.
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario?
No.
Counselor Luzon?
Yes.
Counselor LaPlante?
No.
Counselor Levy?
No.
Council Vice President is noted as absent. I'm sorry, Counselor, I shouldn't have done it in that order.
I'm here. I'm
Oh.
here.
Just here. Oh,
Counselor, it's a motion to table this document.
I heard the discussion. I was here. Yep. I don't know if,
How do you move?
yes.
And Council President? I did it backwards.
You did the backwards.
Yeah,
I
it's
vote yes.
Yes. So, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yeses.
The motion to table passes. The motion is now tabled.
Thank you. Move that up. What is that?
I want to clarify. Has to be voted on for July 30th?
So I need to get this document submitted to HUD no later than August 15th, otherwise we lose the money. Yep.
When is the next meeting?
My intention was to submit it at the end of July, but
Yeah, just send us the legal notice as of when you're supposed to send it up, together with the information that we all request, and we can definitely put that out for the record. Thank you. Councilors, I'm gonna let you decide as of how we move forward today, because everybody on this agenda is here, including the chief of police, including the members of the Lawrence Housing Authority, and including the mayor's office that have an item. So at this point, councilors, I'm gonna leave it up to you to move any of the items as you wish. Councilors. Huh?
I would just recommend, just because everybody's here, just go in order. That's what I would recommend.
We'll go in order. We have a motion, item for public hearing, we have item 24525, which is to adopt new forms, floor plan maps for the city of Lawrence, and approve the amendment of the city floor plan management ordinance, chapter 15.32, with the latest regulations from the National Flood Insurance Program. This item was put together by Dan McCarthy. Madam Clerk, please read the notice.
Document 245-25, notice is hereby given that the Lawrence City Council will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, July 7th, 2025, at 7 p.m. at a special meeting of the City Council in the Council Chambers, 200 Common Street, Lawrence, Mass. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 and in accordance with the recently revised City Council Rule 2, this meeting will be hybrid, allowing public participation both in person and remotely to accommodate participants with health considerations that prevent them from participating in person. To receive access codes for the remote participation, please contact the city clerk at 978-620-3230 or eileen.bernal@cityoflawrence.com, or view the meeting on Facebook and YouTube.
Councilors, public hearing is now open. Anybody from the public that wishes to speak? Public hearing is now closed. Councilors, what's the motion?
Motion to approve?
There is a motion to approve, properly second by Councilor Reyes. Let's allow the administration to explain a little bit more as of why we're doing this. Oh, public hearing? We're just gonna allow you to speak during the discussion, since public hearing was closed, but we will allow you, since we know that you've been you have a little bit of challenge when it comes to mobility issues. Yes, it's a good word.
Thank you, councilors, Mr. President, members of the council. First of all, I don't even have an agenda, but this has to do with the flood insurance plan.
Correct.
And they used an acronym, an abbreviation, FIRM. Do any of you know what that means? Apparently,
Farm?
that's why they use acronyms like that, so the public doesn't know. They keep the public like mushrooms, in the dark, and don't give them any light. So FIRM means Flood Insurance Rate Map. So what we're gonna have here tonight, and apparently, I hate to seem like I'm picking on Director McCarthy, but once again, apparently he doesn't have a PowerPoint presentation for this very important piece of legislation you people will be working on. This plan will affect the property values in the city of Lawrence. This plan will affect the insurance rates in the city of Lawrence. This plan may cause insurers to drop property owners in the city of Lawrence. The citizens of Lawrence, especially property owners, deserve the dignity and respect that any other town or city would get by having a proper PowerPoint presentation so they know what's going on before they get the insurance notice that they've been canceled. This is the place to do it right now. This is the public hearing, and we're gonna get something written on scrap paper instead of a proper, well-informed PowerPoint. You talked about transparency earlier, Counselor. Where's the transparency in this document? Where people at home have no idea what's coming, and it will affect certainly thousands of Laurentians, these rates. And they could lose, once again, their property insurance. Thank you. We have to stop this lack of transparency when we're talking about major issues like this, or when we have issues that came up previously dealing with millions of dollars. People at home have no idea what is going on here. Thank you.
Thank you. We are going to allow the administration, through Dan McCarthy, to explain to us any type of difference between the previous flood plans, the flood zones map.
So I want to just make a statement first that the statements that were just made by Mr. Collins are completely inaccurate, that this document has nothing to do with the insurance rates paid by the city of Lawrence. It has nothing to do with the insurance program as far as it applies to individual households. This is a adoption of the floodplain maps that exist in the city and an adoption of our floodplain ordinance, which is a building code requirement that ensures that every house and every construction project that's built within a floodplain gets a proper review by the city departments. That's what this is about. The floodplain map is created by the Army Corps of Engineers and the federal government. The city has been working on this for several years and participating in these meetings. The floodplain map for the city of Lawrence has not changed one iota from the floodplain map that was entered into in 2012. Actually, in 2012, our floodplain map was amended to take some portions of the city out of the Shawshene River floodplain, but this is the exact same floodplain map that's been in effect for the city of Lawrence since 2012. So there's no change on the map or any houses that are in the jurisdiction of this floodplain. Again, the same thing is the federal government has asked that we review our ordinance section. Section 1532 of the city's municipal ordinance, which is in effect, and they asked us to amend that ordinance to upgrade it on certain provisions, enforcing the building commissioner, who is our floodplain manager, to make sure that the inspections that are done and the enforcement level that is performed when new houses are built within a floodplain, or additions or any other kind of construction is done within the floodplain, is reviewed properly by the city. So that's what the ordinance is for. It does not affect the rates of the flood insurance. Again, the construction of new properties and new homes within the floodplain is obviously a very dangerous endeavor. We're dealing with this, with the tragedies in Texas right now, and you can see what and the city itself has dealt with floodplain tragedies in the past, caused a lot of economic damage. And these are the protections, building code protections for the city and for the residents.
For some reason, Mr. McCarthy, at some point, somebody brought that up, that insurance might go up if we don't approve it by July 8th. So I don't know.
The flood insurance is done by insurance companies. It's done, has nothing to do with this ordinance. The only impact that could come from this, our failure to adopt a floodplain map or an ordinance, is that the city could be no longer eligible to get flood insurance. And that's one of the reasons why we're having a special meeting tonight, because of that. The eligibility requirements for the city to participate in this program are, one, that we adopt the map that's given to us by the federal government, and two, that we have an enforceable program to make sure our building inspectors are reviewing new projects being built within the floodplain.
All right, thank you for clarifying that. Councilors, any questions?
Yes, Council President.
Okay, Councilor Luzon, before we continue, there is an amendment on the,
I would like to amend the motion. It will be motion to approve and waive the 30 days.
motion to approve and waive the 30 days. It's been properly seconded by Councilor Reyes previously. That was a friendly amendment by himself. Councilor Luzon.
Thank you. I do have a question on if a property is in a flow zone, and if we approve this tonight, the insurance is going to increase?
No.
No?
The insurance rates will not be affected by your vote, no. Your vote will ensure that they'll be able to participate in the flood program.
So,
I
let me
haven't-
clarify one thing. So according to what you just said, if we're not participating on the program that is from the federal government, these plans that are provided to us
Yes.
from the federal government, the people that are within that area will lose the insurance.
They could lose their insurance,
They
yes.
could lose the insurance because we're not participating on the flow zone
That's correct.
program from the federal government.
That is correct.
So, okay. So it's not like if we approve these plans, rates are gonna go up,
Right.
because we're not approving any plans.
This has nothing to do with the rates of insurance that the homeowners pay. This is only a baseline to participate in the program.
We're adopting those plans
Yes.
that are in front of us. That was provided by the federal government, right?
Council President, do I still
Sure.
have the floor?
Sure.
So let's say if,
Councilor Luzon. But I
Yeah.
mean, I guess that the city attorney also have some clearance.
yeah, or maybe he, let me ask a question, that way he doesn't need to come back. What will happen if, just for the people that are watching and for our own information, what will happen if we vote against this ordinance? What will the city lose?
The city will no longer be participating in the program.
Okay.
If you don't participate in the program, the people cannot get flood insurance
Okay,
through it's called the,
Firm.
it's an agency plan.
If I may, maybe I can explain it.
Please.
I'm going to put it in simpler terms, just so you understand. If you have a house on the ocean, you get flood insurance. If you can't get it through your mortgage anymore because it's too expensive. So the federal government provides flood insurance. So you can get flood insurance. But by the same token, if you have a house on the ocean and it gets demolished, they're not going to insure you again unless you change your building code, for instance, as with the ocean, to put stilts under your house, to make it up higher, so that the next time it won't be washed out. So that's the purpose of the changing of the building code, is that anybody that's going to build in there, they're going to make sure that if the creek rises, the river rises, that these houses will survive. That way, if they know that you're building to this code, the government will offer this insurance to these people. That's all this is. This is just a building code to ensure that everybody that's going to build in the flood zone is going to build appropriately, and they will then offer insurance to the city. Without this, you have to go to your private insurer, and I would just tell you, having someone with a place down the beach, the insurance went from $1,000 to $15,000 in one year. Without the government program, it's completely unaffordable. So the people that you're worried about will not be able to afford flood insurance.
so.
Councilor Luzon.
Thank you, Council President. So basically, we as a city, we have to stay and the council, the ideal is for the council to approve this ordinance because the city needs to stay under that protection.
That's correct.
That's what my understanding.
We have to
okay?
prove to the federal government that we're doing our share to protect the homes.
And that will, so that would allow us to apply for any FEMA funds in case something happened in the floor.
That is correct.
That's different.
Correct?
That's
Okay.
correct.
Yes, that's correct, or that's different?
Nope, that is correct. To apply for any FEMA grant funds, emergency funds, any programs for fixing your house, anything, the programs that are open, we have to participate in this program.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Thank you, Council President.
No problem. Any questions? Councilor Marmo?
So just for a point of clarification, this has no bearing on the property values as well?
This will not impact people's property values at all, no. But it is time sensitive. One of the requests I'm going to make in today's vote is that we do waive the 30-day notice requirement, veto. So that will be one part of my vote is ask the 30-day waiver.
Yeah, just to clarify from what Councilor Marmo just said, if you buy in a house that is within the flood zone area, that might affect the property value, but it's because it's within that area, not because it actually have to do with the plans that we are adopting. It's because it's in the flood zone. It's like if you buy in a house on the beach. I mean, you take the risk of the ocean coming in.
No, but what about the adjacent properties to it?
So there's a 100-year and a 500-year flood, and anybody who's within a 100-year flood zone is required to have the insurance as part of their mortgage requirements. And adjacent properties outside of that are not required to get it, but they can pay for it voluntarily at a discounted rate. It's the houses within the 100-year flood area which are the most prone to flooding that are affected by this the most. But as climate change occurs more and more, I think the houses that are outside of it have become more affected.
Those are the one denominated as AE.
Yep.
Through you, Council President, I'm looking over the map. Do you mind for the record stating where this zone is located? I'm noticing Riverside Drive, so if you could
It's all over
state,
the city.
it's all over the city? Could he state for the record? Because the viewers, if there is anyone viewing this meeting or could look back at this meeting, they're able to have specifics as to what we're adopting.
Yeah, the floodplain, the city of Lawrence has 3 rivers, which are all affected by flooding. So they all have areas within the Shawshene, the Spigot, and the Merrimack River that are affected by flooding. And there's zones, as Council President mentioned, Zone AE, which is the major area along that, is the most affected area. The people who are in that will know that because they do pay the insurance. As was pointed out, these insurance rates are not cheap, but they are made more affordable because they are based on the value for the, worked out over the entire nation paying into this fund. It's required. If you don't have a mortgage, you don't have to get the flood insurance. But if you have a mortgage, you're required by law to have flood insurance.
And those plans are also available through the federal government websites related to flood zones.
Yes, these are, the maps that I
Every
submitted you is, there's 8 maps that constitute the city of Lawrence's map. It used to be 4 maps when they were in large paper versions. Now everything's done electronically. It's called a Fermet, and there's a website. All that information was made available in public notices that were left in the city clerk's department in the Office of Plan Development. And anybody in the city can contact my office, and I can provide you the area to access this information on the federal government website.
Councilors have a question? With that said, I'll call the questions. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Yes, aye.
Okay.
Any no?
Is Councilor Infante with us? We have any roll call?
Yeah, roll call, please.
Councilor Levy?
Yes.
Councilor LaPlante?
Yes.
Councilor Luzon?
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Councilor Santiago?
Yes.
Councilor Marmo?
Yes.
Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Council Vice President Infante?
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez.
I vote yes. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we're going to committee reports, Budget and Finance Committee. We have item 26525, year-end transfer between departments account for the amount of $258,806 to environmental project from the cemetery as well as the airport. Mr. Chair from the Budget and Finance Committee for today, can you present this item as a committee report?
What was the item number again?
Item 26525.
Okay, thank you, Council President. So item 26525, year-end between department accounts, is that it?
Yeah,
It was sent to full council with favorable recommendation.
no, wait, as a committee report.
Whereas, as a committee report, thank you.
You would like to make that as a form of a motion?
Yes,
To present it as a committee report? There is a motion to present it as a committee report. Can I hear a second, properly second? Discussion on the committee report? I hear none. All those in favor, please say aye. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Councilor Mamo?
Yes.
Councilor Santiago?
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Councilor Luzon?
yes,
Councilor LaPlante?
Yes.
Councilor Levy?
Yes.
Council Vice President Infante?
Yes.
Council President Rodriguez.
I vote yes. Now, councilors, what's the motion?
Motion to approve?
There is a motion to approve, properly second by motion to approve by Councilor Levy, properly second by Councilor Reyes. Discussion, we have the administration here. Mr. Spani? Yes. We are on item 26525. This is the year-end transfer between departments for the total amount of $258,806 environmental projects from the,
Okay, good. Yes, thanks. The request for this item is because our intent is to clean like we did last year, the Spigot River. Unfortunately, with the high cost of hauling the mattresses and also debris that is within the water, including some of the trees, the expenses have gone high. We have allocated, if I'm not mistaken, like $300,000 to $400,000 for the amount.
450, something like that.
Yeah, that we had since we presented the ARPA funding to you.
So right now, there's 390,500 allocated for this.
Right, and so our request is to have funds being transferred from the cemetery to pay for the expenses of cleaning the Spigot River. It would be the entire Spigot River. From the cemetery, the funds that were coming from the cemetery and the airport. My apologies.
All right, the $390,000 you guys went through, the bid process, put an RFP,
Yes,
and then you get an organization that bid on it, and the amount was not enough.
yes, we did communicate with the IG's office because in the beginning, we wanted to find out if we could have worked in partnership. The response at that time was that we needed to go through an RFP because of the hauling component. Because last year when Clean River Project was the organization, correct? They worked with some of the nonprofit the private companies that volunteered in cleaning a portion of the Spigot River. This time around, the hauling component brought it to a higher rate and also prevailing wages that applies.
Can you go back to that point specifically?
Which one?
The
prevailing
hauling
wage?
and prevailing wage?
Because it's, now, we're using public funds to clean the river. And So even though you partner with someone, but there are certain requirements for the city to pay prevailing wages, or whoever is awarded the contract needs to pay prevailing wages.
So the contract was not sufficient funds on the bidding to fulfill the
To
bid.
fulfill, correct. Because it now became a major cleanup, because we have more illegal dumping that's happening on the river. I think it's District A, B, I think E and D is affected. And obviously, we need to maintain within the regulations of how the cleanup is going to happen, because it has to do with conservation. But we need to remove the mattresses and other debris and encampment that's around the riverbanks.
Did the scope of the work change, or is still for the river for one of the river cleanup?
No, it's the Spigot River,
The Spica River,
only the Spigot River.
but the south. Exactly. It's like that's why. So the Spica River is on the north, but you're saying that District E and F is affected.
Starts at District
B?
A and
That's
B,
Shoshin.
right? And then, that's it?
That's it.
Oh, okay, sorry.
All right. So that's why I'm asking if the
No,
scope
good,
of the work
good,
have
good, no.
changed.
My mistake, my apologies. But I thought it would run through the other, yeah. the other-
Councilors? Yeah, Shoshin is on the south. Councilor Plant.
So I like the idea of the cleanup. Who isn't in favor of a cleanup, right? We want our water bodies to be clean. We don't like the unsightliness, the smell, and the vision. All that stuff, we want it to be clean. But it reminds me of this very same thing about illegal dumping on the land. So, what we need to do, and I think we've done it to a lesser degree, but we have done some stuff on the land about the cameras, for example, the illegal dumping law that was passed back in 2016, and we have been hopefully ramping that up and getting more and more people aware of illegal dumping. So that's happening there. I'm drawing a corollary between the land and the water, because I think it's one thing just to clean up. It's a very short-term response, because as soon as you get that out, more stuff's
It's
gonna go
gonna
back in.
happen if you don't have
So,
the-
so what, in my opinion, we need a two-step process. The cleanup is clearly important, but then what is the next step? How do we reduce the amount of trash and other things going in there? Are we using a camera program? Are we educating folks? What are we doing with respect to that side? Because what I don't want to see happen, we could be spending this amount of money annually, maybe not to this extent, because people are going to continue to dump until we change behaviors. So what are we doing about changing behaviors, and is there a component of this money that's going to address that?
Yes, well, not through these funds, but we came before you, we're requesting funding through different departments, especially law enforcement, inspectional services, and also portion, that would be DPW. I think you all, during the budget sessions, have raised concern that you wanted more inspection and more collaboration, which this administration is doing as well. We're gonna have a meeting pretty soon between law enforcement department and ISD, see how they can work. We also, as part of the negotiations with bargaining with the union, we're gonna see if we can have cooperation through personnel department and the Department of Finance to see if there's more flexibility, because it doesn't make any sense for you to have only rely on law enforcement to surveil the city, responding to emergency calls, while you could have also ISD and DPW collaborate in the evenings. There's also another component is that whenever there's illegal dumping, and we realize that it hasn't been done, and we have a new director, he's still new. I'm saying that he has managed before, but one of the approaches is to go through the debris and to find out if there's an address or is there any sort of indication where the illegal dumping is happening, where that trash is coming from. But we know that it's happening constantly. Cameras is also going to be involved in the surveillance. But we are going to enforce have more surveillance and cooperation between departments.
And my last question, Council President, and it's a suggestion. Earlier this evening, I was listening to a lot of my colleagues talking about, depending on which side you're on, but the effectiveness of billboards, right? Everybody's saying that if billboards are working. They work. This is a very benign place that I think if there are billboards near the Spigot River, to remind folks about what it means to do the dumping, the illegal aspect of it, and then couple that with what you just mentioned with ISD and DPW and the enforcement stuff. If we can dedicate some of these monies and put it aside for that purpose, because I really, really believe that education and getting down on the enforcement side is critical. And if we have some money here, the whole idea is to keep the Spigot River clean. In this particular case, let's do something regarding that other aspect, which right now I heard you talk about it. You've heard what the council said, but I'm not really getting a sense of where the teeth is on that. So, and that's my recommendation that we look
and thank you, Councilor, but do be reminded that we have gone through, you were made aware, now we have for a long time, we didn't have a municipal hearing officer, because you can have fines, because you can't have, there's no way to enforce necessarily. We have an enforcement prosecutor, and we also have a munis system that can work. The question is, what we didn't have before, we have now to enforce the city ordinance.
Point of information. Just a point of information, what you just said there. That position that we approve, that position is not.
Is
So
that, sorry?
it is not, that position, then the position that we approve for what you just mentioned is not necessarily to be the enforcement of those tickets. The prosecutor position.
Well, you have.
It is the person that is gonna facilitate those tickets to go to court, so people can have a hearing.
Is the hearing officer that goes through, it is a process that you need to go. What is it called, 40U? A process where you have the code enforcement or the inspectional service issues a fine. Let's say we find a perpetrator that is dumping. The individual could be arrested or receive a fine. That goes through a hearing, but you need an enforcement officer to prepare all the documentations and work together with the inspectors to basically prosecute the case. Then it goes before a hearing officer. If the individual, or let's say the perpetrator or the suspect of being the perpetrator, does have the other option of going to court, or vice versa, the city can also request if the violator is against paying the fine or correcting, because these fines are high. We're not talking about $1,000, it may be more, even up to 10,000, because it can contain contamination.
Do we have a hearing officer in the city of Lawrence?
Yes, we do. Recently hired, yes.
But it's not the position that we approve. That's another entity.
Totally different, yeah.
Totally different.
Right.
Can you send us that information, please?
Yeah, sure. I think the attorney can send that information to you.
Yeah, Councilor Del Rosario.
Thank you, through you. Going back to Councilor LaPlante, in my district has been a couple of perpetrators caught, but we don't expose them. We don't expose them. So people don't know that those people are getting caught. So what we need to do, I saw a webpage in Salem, New Hampshire. People stealing things, and it could be the littlest things that you stole in Salem, New Hampshire, and they put you on the website. This person stole a pencil. And when you go to the store, if you're going to steal something, you're going to think about it. Say, they're going to put me all over the place. So people know that we work in it, but people don't know because we don't expose those people. The last conversation that I had with the director of ISD and also Officer Bercano is, why are those people not out there? Why are we not showing those videos or those pictures that we caught that truck dumping that on that place, and they're not being exposed? So we need to let the people know that we are doing that work, and put those pictures on the billboard, like Councilor LaPlante said. We cut, yeah. Right. If we're gonna make a billboard on it, near the river, put those pictures of that guy with a truck. And he's fined $10,000, but we need to expose those people. We we're not letting people know that people getting caught on illegal dumping. I mean, in my district, it's been happening, and I'm happy about it. But those people's not being exposed, so the message is not getting out there. And they getting caught. I mean, you get one today, but that person hasn't been exposed, and the next day you get another one in the same spot doing illegal dumping because they don't know we're watching them. So we need to do some type of thing when it comes to the education to let them know that they're being caught. So
Thank you,
expose them.
Yep, thank you.
Council President.
Councilor Santiago.
Good evening. I have a meeting few months ago with you and DPW director about this area, and I made the suggestion for the director Jorge Jaime to put in more illumination. You say about camera, but the conversation was few months ago, and we don't have any kind of illumination there. How we can do the video or camera over there, or photos? And another things, he proposed to put a solar panel light, and we are still waiting for that.
Yes, and I may say on behalf of Director Jorge Jaime, it's a little challenging because we have to work also with the utility company. We have several utility poles that now is part of our responsibility, but there are certain, what would you say, the bureaucracy as well that we need to go through, that it doesn't happen overnight. We had a couple of complaints, but I know that he's working diligently. We have met with National Grid's representative for our area, and there's many other, items that we need to address with them, including law enforcement, but we're working on it.
Through you, Council President.
Sure, Councilor Santiago.
You say about National Grid, that's fine, we can wait, but at least solar panel, light. I think those can do the job between we wait, and easier. That's
Okay,
my
good.
suggestion.
I'll inform, I have a meeting tomorrow with DPW director, and I'll,
We appreciate it.
yes, and give you the information.
Thank you. Any other councilors? So, no question. So if we approve this item today, the city will be allocating an extra amount of $258,806 dollars to the environmental project for a total amount of $648,000 about. It is also important to recognize that in collaboration with the council, the administration will be able to have this amount of money to do any cleanup related to that specific project.
Correct. Correct.
Thank you. Councilors, any other questions? I'll call the questions. That all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Councilor Vice President Infante, she's no longer with us, so the roll call is not needed. Motion carries. All right. Item 28025 is the authorization to spend the amount of $768,2026 Safe and Successful Youth Initiative grant from the Executive Office of the Public Safety and Security. The Police Department, Rosa Sharper, again, thank you so much for the wait, and thank you for being here again with us.
Good evening, City Councilors, and thank you for having me. My name is Rosa Shepard, Director of Support Services at the Lawrence Police Department, and the reason why we are here is to inform you that.
So before we continue, we need a motion. And
Thank you. Thank you,
yeah, we
Council
need to
President.
present this as a committee report
Yes,
first.
thank you, Council President. Item 280-25 was presented as a committee report, and I made that in a form of a motion.
There's a motion to accept this
moved.
item as a committee report,
Second.
properly second by Councilor Santiago. You made the motion, Councilor Santiago, and then Councilor Levy also seconded, that's fine. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Now we need a motion to approve or a motion.
To approve.
There's a motion to approve by Councilor Levy, properly second by Councilor Marmol, for that is item that we just discussed. Mr. Chapa.
Sure, thank you. So I am pleased to inform
And
you
by
that-
the way, before we continue, Councilor Del Rosario recused himself due to a potential conflict of interest.
I am pleased to inform you that the Lawrence Police Department, in partnership with CISU, we reapply for the SSYI grant, which is under the Executive Office of Health and Human Services. We originally applied for the amount of $700,000, and we were fortunately be awarded for $767,000. We've been having this grant since 2015 and with CISU, and this grant is mainly to help the youth from 14 to 24 years in reducing gang involvement in youth violence. As well, this funding will help CISU to provide outreach intervention and a wide range of educational and technical training opportunities for the young people here in Lawrence. And with me tonight, I have Dan Halloran. Just in case you have any questions about the programs, which I'm pretty sure we do have a few new programs.
Council President.
Yeah, before we do that, we would like to recognize the councilor now partner with the city through this project.
Thank you. Dan Halloran from Seasuba, 24 Thomas Road in Lawrence. I actually, last year you asked for some data. So I just brought a one-page data to just see the good work that we are doing, and we're well over, I would say, the state average of the other cities, Holyoke, Methuen, Fall River, Boston. So my staff, and I wish I could take a lot of credit for it, but my staff is doing a great job with outreach. They're getting the young adults in. I think a few of you went to our graduation a few weeks ago, and that was just probably half of the folks who will be finishing within the next 6 months. So, you know, when we're dealing, the police and the gang unit has been unbelievable to us, bringing in folks, and we're going to start opening up gyms a little later like we did years ago. But the program works, and you know, we're going to continue our relationship with the police department.
Sure, through you to the absolute best District F counselor the city has ever had.
That's, yes.
He keeps reminding me of that, so I had to say that.
I keep reminding you of that. Yeah.
Do you have the data? Do you have the data that we can look at, the successes? And
I sent it to you.
yeah, I see a hard copy. That would be great if we if there's extras there. You're very. I think that's happened. I'm getting older, and these are okay.
Man, I didn't bring my glasses today.
Yeah.
It's too late.
Wow.
Please, I'm going to have trouble reading this myself without the changes.
Just, I don't want to extend this beyond. I just give me a flavor. Give me one snippet that you think is important. So when I go back to our district and I say, you know, Sisu's doing some great things. Here's an example. Boom. Just give me one tidbit.
I would say the outreach, over 1,400 contacts with I would call them the courthouse, the police department. Like I said, the relationship with the gang unit has been increasing, just getting the names. But I would go into the contact successful. I mean, we've had such great luck getting contacts, and for the few years before this, we had trouble finding folks because we've had more addresses at Wendy's and McDonald's. When we're chasing, that's what they give into the courts. And this gang unit knows where everybody is. So it's been an unbelievable kind of uptick in young adults that we're bringing. But we've got some better relationships now, even with the district attorney's office, DYS. But I would think even the behavioral health, part of this grant funds a mental health counselor. And the need, and I think we're double the state average on folks looking for mental health, just counseling and group work that we do. And there's a lot of group work being done in the city but this is specific to that 16 to 24-year-old kid who might be in and out of the court system. And then the job readiness that goes with this program, too.
And I asked for the success, and to be fair, what is the biggest challenge? What's the hurdle, the next hurdle you're looking to overcome that you think you're not quite there yet out of all the stuff you've been working on?
I would think it's still contact and bringing the kids in and keeping them there. We'll lose kids for 2 or 3 months at a time. A lot of kids go missing, and we end up finding them up in Maine, or we find them at other places out of state. It's just weird because, and the police can probably talk to this more than I can, but, you know, the older gang ones, I think the age is shrinking down. I think when this grant started and they were going with, you know, the stats from years ago, the gangs were 18 to 24. Now they're down to 14, 15, 16, and we're seeing a lot more of those kids, but we've, you know, besides this grant, we've got other grant opportunities, and we've been chasing a lot of younger kids too. So part of the After 4 program that the cities help fund too is we're starting to reach out to the schools of those kids right at the edge of getting thrown out of Lawrence High School or even at one of the alternative schools, and we're bringing them. Our hours have went from 9 to 5 to 12 to 8 p.m., so we're trying to get them in more. And then we're going to start opening the gyms till 10, 11 o'clock at night just to keep kids busy.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilor Zong.
Thank you for the data, because that's what was going to be one of my questions.
Yes.
Thank you for doing that. Next time, please.
We'll get it a little bigger next
Yes.
time, but we're trying to
I
fit in
cannot
everything
even
we
read
can.
it with my glasses on it, but I understand. So my next question is, what amount of money is used for salary, if it's used for salary, out of this grant?
It is. We fund 2 outreach workers that would, I'm going to give you rough numbers. I don't have the exact numbers, but 2 outreach workers probably funds 50% of their salaries, because we do have other grants we work with.
Okay.
Case managers, a mental health counselor. I would say about 50% of it goes to staffing.
And do we serve, to you, Council President, and I don't know, did you mention another city when you were?
Well, when we did this, and you were looking for data, we compared it to the rest of the other grant participants of Fall River, Lowell, Boston. So what we did was take the statewide average.
Okay.
And what we're doing as far as Lawrence.
Okay, so
So-
this money, I'm sorry, this money is only used for Lawrence?
Yes.
Yes,
Kids.
but there's 11 other towns
Oh.
and cities that get this grant money from the state. So we're just a piece of the whole state grant that comes to the police department.
Okay, but, thank you, Council President.
No problem. Councilors, any other questions? Since there is none, I'll call the question. So those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nay? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Item
Item 281-25.
Yes.
Authorization to spend $56,143 with 60 cents from the FY 2026 State Traffic Safety Information System Improvement Grant from the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security. It's $44,914 with 53 cents grant, with a match of $11,228 and $63 cents. And I made that in form of a motion, Council President.
That's to accept the committee report.
Yeah, as a committee report, and I made that in form of a motion. Thank
There
you.
is a motion to
Second.
accept the committee report, properly second by Councilor Del Rosario. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nay? The ayes have it. I'll entertain a motion. There is a motion to approve by Councilor Levy, properly second by Councilor Reyes. Discussion? Just explain a little more.
The the Lawrence Police was invited to reapply for this grant. We eventually applied for this grant last year, FY25, and we received $342,000, $342.44. With this grant, we were able to install 33 GTAC laptops. Dar is the IT project manager for this grant. Under this grant, we are applying for $56,143, and it is to complete last year's project, which right now we're going to be installing 5 more GTAC laptops on the cruiser to fully equip the department.
All right, any questions? I hear none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Item 28225, Councilor Luzon.
Thank you, Council President. Is the authorization to spend $64,926.56 FY26 Municipal Road Safety Grant from the National Highways and Traffic Safety Administration. It was sent to the full council as a committee report, and I made that in form of a motion.
There is a motion to accept it as a committee report, properly second by Councilor Reyes. Discussion. I hear none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. I entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
There is a motion to approve by Councilor Levy, second by Councilor Reyes. Discussion. Ms. Sharper?
The Lawrence Police Department was invited to apply for the Municipal Road Safety Grant. This is the grant that they put out there every year. We applied in the amount of $64,926.46, and it is from the EOPS, from the Commonwealth Massachusetts Executive Office of Public and Safety Security. This grant is to aim to enhance the municipal road safety program by providing essential funding for traffic enforcement overtime and necessary equipment, which we have been fortunate to receive this grant since 2020. The main goal for this grant is to be able to do the programs for the driving, biking, or walking. With this funding, we plan to target traffic safety enforcement, focuses on critical issues such as speeding, impaired driving, and pedestrian safety.
Aye. Authorization to spend $40,000 to the SFY 25 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant. This grant is from the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security. It was sent to the full council as a committee report. I made that in form of a motion.
Second.
Motion on the table, properly second by Councilor Santiago. Discussion. I hear none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Any motions? There is a motion to approve by Councilor Levy, seconded by Councilor Santiago.
Discussion.
Discussion. Councilor Plan.
Thanks. So out of all of these, this is the one that caught my attention only because of the national political tenor regarding sanctuary cities, Trust Act cities, and Department of Justice providing grants to various municipalities and states. And I'm just wondering if you can kind of give us any inclination, do you have any insight? I mean, obviously we got it this year, that's fantastic. Going forward, have you gotten any other kinds of intel or information on, or received any kind of notices from our federal partners saying that this might be in jeopardy?
So, Ms. Shepherd, before you get to that question, just explain a little more about the grant, and that way we can respond right after?
Oh, sure.
So you have that information, then someone else can jump in?
Not a problem. The Lawrence, we were invited to apply for this grant. The full amount for the grant is for $40,000. We are trying to obtain 2 fingerprint machines because the one that we have currently are outdated and is no longer support the software. And in order to be able to have the new software, we need a new 2 fingerprints machine. This grant allow us to purchase equipment just for the law enforcement, which is for the police department. Each equipment is gonna cost around $21,000, and that's for what we apply for this grant.
So any answer to the question that Councilor LaPlante has?
What was the question again?
So the question is that reading the newspapers, understanding or watching and following what's happening nationally, especially with the Department of Justice, and the fact that there's threats with respect to providing any kinds of assistance to either states or municipalities that are regarded as sanctuary or trust act cities, of which we are one of those, Trust Act. So I'm wondering if have we heard anything, any rumblings, anything that would, that could concern us that we got it this year, that's good, but in going forward, have we received any memos or anything like that that might threaten this particular program and this particular grant going forward?
None.
Okay, thank you. Short answer, to the point. Any questions?
And just to add to the grant, they hold a conference call on this grant, and before we apply for it, we did ask the state if we were able to apply for this, if we were able to apply to use the funds to purchase the 2 fingerprint machines, and they say yes, they did not have any discussions or any buts about the not be able to purchase a fingerprints machine under the grant. So far, yes.
And I have that information anyway. Once we any other questions? I hear none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Housing Committee, there is no
Thanks,
report. Thank you so much. Ordinance Committee, there is no report. Personal Committees, we're going straight to item 26225, which is the reappointment of that Zoraida Geronimo, tenant representative to the Lawrence Housing Authority.
Thank you, Council President.
Yeah, Councilor
What was the
LeBlanc?
item name? Item 262. Yeah. Item 26225.
Yes,
It
item
was-
26225.
It was sent to full council with favorable recommendation, and I made that in form of a motion.
Is a motion on the table to approve the reappointment of Zoraida Geronimo. Has been properly seconded by Councilor Levy. Any question to Ms. Zoraida?
Council President,
Councilor De Rosario.
thank you through you. Ms. Ronnie, want to say thank you. Our community is a special community, and that neighborhood where I don't know if you still live there. It's, I'm assuming that people go to you all the time because you're part of the board, and being there for over 20 years is amazing. And trying to be there 5 more years is more amazing. So thank you for your service provide to our people throughout the housing authority.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Councilors, any questions? Well, the Housing Authority is an authority that deals with all the housings in Lawrence related, a good amount of housing in Lawrence. And we have a board. That board actually represents the community to actually make sure that the organization is doing well when it comes to every aspect of the law and any aspect of the tenants, perhaps, any particular issues. So this is a special board. It's an authority, different than a regular board. And it is important that we actually have that opportunity with that board members, because this is the opportunity to ask questions when it comes to the housing authority. So Ms. Zoraida Geronimo, she's been there for quite some time now, and she's been serving the community at that level for a long period of time. So thank you for serving the community and continue serving.
I have a question.
Councilor De La Plata.
It's
Councilor
re- I just thought of this, and I wasn't planning on asking any questions, but I'm just curious, from your perspective for the Lawrence Housing Authority, just like I asked the other individual, what do you think is the best success? But I'm interested as well as what's the thing that you need to start focusing more attention on? You want to call it a weakness or a challenge? You can choose whatever word you want, but what do you think is what does the Housing Authority need to work on to improve its management of our housing.
I think that's a question of the director.
Well, she's the board member.
She's the board member, she actually gives direction to the executive
Yeah,
director.
she's the boss of the director.
So,
The
I'd be
boss.
curious to know for her perspective on that.
Well, we're working together to help the community, and whoever have any problem or any concern, we more than welcome to help. And one of the answer your question is, I don't know if you going around to the beacons and you see all the hard work they do. It's not only in the beacon, everywhere. But I have to talk in the area that I live. And one of the reasons that I'm on the board is because I like to help my community. I don't know if that answers your question.
Not really. So let me ask, so thank you for that. That's good to know. But the question really is, from your perspective, because you've been on this board now for 20 years? Did I read that correct?
20 years.
20 years, so right. So you've seen a lot coming and going, you're experienced, and so from your perspective, it's really valuable because you've been around for a while. So I guess every organization needs things to work on, to improve. There's weaknesses, right? And if we're being candid, what's the one thing in the next, how long is your term? 4 years, 2 years?
5
How long?
years.
5
Thank-
years.
In the next 5 years that you want to see accomplished, that may be something that hasn't happened yet. Can you, I'm curious to get your perspective. It's not often we have a chance for an LHA member to come here and ask these kinds of questions. So do you have a perspective or an answer on something that you want to see worked on in the next 5 years during this next term?
No.
It really is for the candidate.
It's for the candidate.
Well,
We're appointing the candidate, she votes on you. So that's
What
how
is it that you
works.
want to see change it?
no, not any changes because I'm very satisfied with what we're doing now. And I don't think nothing has to be changed because everything we do, everything we do, we're transparent. So I don't think we need to change nothing. So keep doing the good job and provide the person the answer and the help they need.
Councilor Blanc?
I got my answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Reyes?
Thank you. Follow the question to my colleagues. We want to see what changes you have in mind to bring to this role. Were you thinking about what can do better for the beacon? I can do this and that, I can presenting to the boss, what the boss think, what propose you want to bring for the next 5 years.
When I say we don't have to do any changes, because we always do changes. We're working to improve everything. Like I said, they've been working in remodeling, they've been working to do better service to the tenants, and that's what we always do.
Yeah, we asking because sometimes we go there and door knocking and talking with our constituent and they say, oh, I want to see more flower, I want to see more this, more that, and something like that.
If you go there, you can see all the changes and all the improve.
We have seen,
likes flowers.
all the time we have something to be better, something. It doesn't matter, we can do a perfect job or something like that, but when I do my job, I think I do the most best I can, but I thinking by myself, I can do something better every day. But it's hard to see everything is running well.
So I'm going to tell you what my wife would like to see. And that's a message that I need to bring, because otherwise I get in
Flowers?
trouble. Flowers at Exit Street on those big flower beds, or not beds, the circles that you
We
have.
have those.
She would like to see flowers on those because that's a beautiful thing, but it's empty. Even it doesn't have enough material, dirt on it, like loam and seed and, or not seed, but I mean mulch, loam and flowers and stuff like that. So that's what my wife would like to see.
Council President.
No, before I go decide, I still have questions on that side, Councilor Mamo.
Through you, Council President, I do want to commend you for the amount of years of service, which is not easy to do. However, I have to be honest with you. I'm not sure if it's because of either a language barrier that you didn't quite understand the question and give an answer to it, but I'm a little disappointed with the answer because I feel that there's always room for improvement despite the progress and the work ethic that you guys have. So in my district, which is D, Essex Towers specifically.
No, they're not, I just thought it's not part of them.
It's not Lawrence, it's not a housing authority?
No, they're not part of it.
Okay.
It's more like the Merrimack Courts and the.
Well, Merrimack
Hawthorne.
Courts, the Beacons, yeah, well, regardless, I stand by what I'm about to say. There's always room for improvement. There is always something to work on. So just to hear a simple question and the answer that you provided was that that within the next 5 years, you did not see that there isn't any changes to be made or that you find everything to be perfectly fine. I don't know, it makes me feel as if what do you potentially could bring to this position or contribute and be an asset? Because again, I'm super appreciative that you're doing the hard work that a lot of people do not sign up for. It is a thankless job, and I don't want my comments to deter you or discourage you at all, but just hopefully look into, just tap into expanding and thinking outside of the box and being able to see how is it that we could improve on things. Because trust me, there definitely is plenty of things to work on in the city, despite the progress that we have made. And I do not want to take that away from the Lawrence Housing Authority.
Councilor Luzon?
Thank you, Council President. In the personal committee, the director, Rolon explained the changes that they're doing, they're constantly doing in different buildings. But I get to call and speak with the director, and also I get to speak with the tenants. And when I call the director, I always get a positive response and an honest response. Sometimes we see things that they're not able to change, that they don't have the funds, but at least I get a call back, okay? So we have an issue with lights in one of the housings. So the director has been talking to me about the process. Unfortunately, some of the processes are very slow, unfortunately. But at least I get an answer, and I'm speaking on behalf of my constituents. Now we're dealing with a section that needs lights, not because of the housing authority is not able to change the lights, because every time they change the lights, somebody else, people that don't live around there, they go and destroy what they do. So it's a constant working relationship. And for Zoraida and the job that she's been doing for this amount of time, the only thing that I can say is thank you for your service, because if I get a lot of complaints. Well, not complaints, things that the tenants want to see change. But I know that on the other hand, there's a process and a system that has to be in place, and it takes time. But I'm assuming the amount of calls that you get, because I know that you care about your community, and you want to see always better things for the community. So the only thing that I have to say to you is thank you for doing that. I don't know where you find the time to listen to and respond to so many calls. And I commend you for that. I know we have things that has to be changed in the housing, there's a lot of challenges, but at least we have a director that's always willing to at least answer the call and to respond honestly. Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the answer from them is no, we cannot do that right now. But at least we get that and respond. And if it's possible, if this council wants to hear from the director, because he mentioned the things that they're doing in the 5 years that we have, that they have in front of us. Yes. If you would like to do that. If not, I just commend you for doing this and just keep doing the good work that you've been doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilors, any other questions? At this time, I'll call the questions. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. Thank you for serving. Now we go into item 26325, which is the reappointment of Hugo Cortez to the Lawrence Housing Authority. It was sent out to the council by Brian E. de Peña and also in correlation with Efrain Rolon, the director of the Lawrence Housing Authority.
Thank you, Council President.
No, we need to receive it as a committee. before I get
Yes,
to favorable
thank you,
recommendation.
Council President. This item was sent to with a favorable committee report to the
No,
full
the
council.
favorable recommendation or committee?
Favorable recommendation, I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm reading from this note, favorable recommendation, and I make that in form of a motion.
Second.
There is a motion to reappoint Hugo Cortez, properly second by Councilor Levy. Any questions?
Council President.
Councilor Rosario.
Thank you, through you. Send them to you, Mr. Cortez. And one thing that some of us need to understand is you guys don't need to be in those boards and you decide that you want to serve. Knowing you, Mr. Cortez, with properties and the knowledge that you have when it comes to properties, you don't need to sit down in there for 5 years and serve just because. And you decide to sit down there and serve the city. And for that also, I would like to thank you and welcome you back to the board.
Thank you. I saw it as a way for me to contribute in some way to the city. So that's one small, tiny way for me to make small changes here.
Councilor LaPlante?
Sure, so same question. Were you listening to the previous nominee?
Yes.
Which is, so your answer to, you've been there for 5 years, not 20 years, 5 years, but I'm sure you want to
So-
accomplish some stuff. So what is it you want to accomplish in the next 5?
Okay, so as far as the things that have been accomplished in the last couple of years, in my view, the biggest thing is that Lawrence Housing Authority is listed as a high rate. It has a high rating as far as with all the inspections with HUD and DHCD. So basically, they come in on a yearly basis and they do all the inspections of all the buildings, et cetera. And basically, we always come up with high ratings. High ratings basically means that we're in the top echelon, 90+ rating from the thing. The same thing with our budgets. So that's my view. And another thing that I really like about what we do is that we have, I don't remember the exact dates, but I mean, the director retired, we have a very fast turnaround when a unit goes empty. If you read information on other housing authorities, the turnaround is very slow in certain areas. I mean, I'm not gonna name any names or anything like that, but basically, once any unit comes out that's empty, everything goes to work because there's such a high need for this thing. So the fastest that we get it out there is the best.
I have a quick question for the director, so to engage, to enrich the conversation. Director, I have a quick question for you to enrich the conversation. Just give us the data when it comes to amount of units that you guys manage, and also that the waiting list in total that you have in the city of Lawrence, and that way we can.
We're responsible for 1,520
Director.
units.
Mike.
Nobody's
I
hearing you.
need to speak on that.
Thank you for turning down the AC. We're responsible for 1,522 units in the city of Lawrence. 600 of those are elderly disabled. We have around 65 employees, give or take. We have a $35 million budget. What we do is maintain properties that were built, some of them over 80 years ago. So we have to make lemonade out of the lemons that we get. In this environment of uncertainty, not quite getting to your answer, we've lost some funding. We are moving things around to make this work. We think we do a pretty good job. Our audits, whether they're financial or from the state, based on inspections and the work that we do, make us a high-performing agency, which allows us to have 100% of our dollars being refunded again as we continue to grow. In terms of projections in our 5, 10-year, 15-year process, we're looking at options of redeveloping some of our properties that are over 80 years old. These conversations are at the very early stages. Most of them it's a complicated process because you need to involve private sector, developers, and looking at our options of whatever we can afford to make these units that are 80 years old better than what they're at.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if that answers your question, but if you have any other ones that I can try.
Thank you. No, I appreciate the data that we have, the amount of units, what is the scope of the work that you guys do, so we can actually have a better idea for the candidates as of what is it that you guys do and what is it that they are part of the board.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Director. Councilor Blanc.
So I really want to hear, not from the director, I can call you anytime to get these answers. I rarely have a chance to talk to the people who are your boss on the board. They're the ones technically driving policy. You're executing their direction.
Yep.
That's the executive director's position, as I understand it. So I really want to hear what their vision is, because, and I know you're all working together. I can see there's a very close working relationship, and they clearly trust you to provide them guidance, because you're the subject matter expert. I understand that, but they still have an opportunity to provide some direction. So back to Mr. Cortez. So I just want to hear from you in the next 5 years what you want to see happen. What is it that you want to drill on?
So basically, for the next 5 years, I think the Director Rolon touched upon is that I really want to look at how we could redevelop some of those really old housing stock that we have. And the other part of my end is basically, it's look at ways and how we can maintain doing what we're doing efficiently, taking into consideration the cuts that are gonna happen with all possibly in this climate, as far as Section 8, and there might be other things coming up in years down the road. So I think that working on efficiencies and, for lack of a better term, crossing our T's and dotting our I's is going to be very important, because there are going to be cuts happening, and the board and the commissioner are doing everything they can to get prep for that. So, and really maintaining an ear to what's happening in Washington. So that's what I think, that's what we need to focus on, in my view. Being more efficient and trying to maintain that level that we have so far with what can potentially happen, and it's happening specifically right now with Section 8, I believe. And then the other part is basically working with improving the really old housing stock. Those are my two big things.
That's the kind of answer I'm looking for. I'm not debating whether or not that's right or wrong, but that's the kind of answer that I'm looking for, and I thank you for offering that. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Any other questions for the candidate? I'll call the questions. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you for serving.
Thank you.
Thank
All right, now we go into public safety. There is no public safety committee. Economic development, there is no report. Committee of the whole, there is no report. All business, we have item 24125, which is the authorization of the PEC access cable renewal funds, revolving funds accounts for the amount of $450,000. The mayor have vetoed this item, and we also have received information before the meeting start that they are rescinding their vote. I would like to expand the opportunity so we can say it in public as of that the mayor have done that. Administration? The notice? Yeah. So we have an email that we have received. Do you mind just saying what's on the email? When it comes to this
Let me
item?
see if I can get it on through you, Mr. Chair, Mr. President.
So why we here first and then what happened after?
Sorry?
So I say why we here first and then what happened after?
Yes, we're here based on the mayor's request to rescind 2 items.
So first veto it and then rescind it.
Sorry?
First veto it. and
You
then
want me to
rescind-
read the email?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I
good.
mean, no, but I mean, what we hear first, the mayor have vetoed these items that we have taken determination, and then the mayor have rescinded the veto from happening.
Yes, I have the 2 items that the mayor vetoed, if that's the question that you're asking, is item 241-25, which pertains to the authorization of PEC access and cable-related funds. And the second item is item 243B/25, which involves the transfer of $6,137,126 from free cash to various designated accounts. I'll read into the, I read the email now. The mayor is formally requesting the rescission of item 241/25, which pertains to the authorization of PEC access and cable-related funds. This action involves an appropriation of $450,000 for the revolving loan fund account aimed at supporting initiatives related to public, education, and government cable access. Additionally, the mayor seeks to rescind item 243B/25, which involves the substantial transfer of $6,137,126 from free cash 01-3590 to various designated accounts, ensuring the efficient allocation of resources across multiple budgetary needs.
All right, at this point, councilors, there is no action to be taken as per what I understand, correct, Madam Clerk?
That is correct. It was a veto that you could have either overridden or not tonight, but since the veto has been rescinded, there's no action needs to be taken.
We have all the proper records indicating that,
Yeah, we just had asked to have it please documented in writing, which the administration did provide.
and the administration have stated here.
Correct.
No vote that is required. All right. So one of the veto was item 248B/25, which was for the amount of $2,600,000 or something. Yes,
48.
243B.
$243B was the transfer from free cash to various accounts. You had voted as a body to transfer $2,737,126, and that was to cover the snow and ice and one other item. They have, I'm sorry. For snow and ice, you had voted to allocate $1,665,848, and the stability reserve fund for fiscal stability was $1,071,278. Those were the two items that were part of the B that was approved.
So there is no vote required to be able to continue with these items?
That is correct.
All right. All right, any questions, Councilor? I would like to take a point of personal privilege on this specific item. And that is on relation to a social media post that was related to this council. And the post was related to 5 little bandits by you, the advisor. And I won't criticize any rights that you have within the First Amendment of this country. But I would like to read for the record that as per the definition of bandits, that means that a robber or outlaw belonging to a gang and on a typically operating as an isolated or lawless area. So by using bandits to the council, you are saying that not only Lawrence have no law whatsoever, it's a lawless area, that the work that you guys are doing as an enforcement portion of the government is not there because we live in a lawless area. And also referring to this council as 5 little bandits, not to any individual councilors, assuming that just going based on your post. And by all means, I'm not saying you shouldn't be saying that, but as the president of the council, I think that calling the council a 5 little bandits, that means that we are calling us thieves. And I don't know if your intention was that, but that's the definition of that of what that means. For that, that's why I'm taking a point of personal privilege to defend the council as a council president, and also bringing that definition to the public so they know what is the definition by that the dictionary online, also the meaning of bandits. I feel offended by that, by all means. I feel distracted mentally by reading that definition. And I also feel very, very disappointed. Because if we start calling people thieves and robbers, as per the definition of that specific word, it is extremely disappointed that we get into that point. But by all means, we are in America. And that is within your First Amendment constitutional right to express whatever you feel and whatever you like about the council. But as a point of personal privilege, I'm not telling you not to. I'm telling you that me personally, as a council president, feel very offended by it. And by all means, you can continue doing that anytime you want. And I understand, but I don't share your understanding about the council. So, with that said, I finish with my point of personal privilege, as I feel offended by this situation. Thank you.
Council President, I thank you for expressing your views. That's our constitutional right, and you're absolutely right. We're living in a democracy and freedom of speech. I think, however, that you didn't understand and you have to look at the history of what the 5 bandits mean. And I think once you read it, I can share information to you to enlighten you. I can understand probably some people not understanding the point of the five bandits, but it's a history behind it. But that's my right. That is my right, Counselor. We've stood here, as well as staff, until 2 o'clock in the morning. Unfortunately, like everybody makes mistakes. We had our directors that came before you explaining their budgets. We also were not very happy, particularly the respect during the 3.5 years that we had for this council. I was disappointed, personally, since you refer this to me personally. I'm not representing the administration right now. But we took time and we expected that during the budget, the entire budget process, that the question that you were asked, at some point you voted on several items, and at the end, it became confusing to the point that we missed the deadline. And that's it, Councilor, Council President.
Right, with that said, there was an old business in front of us. As per the city clerk, there is no vote requires for this specific item 24125 and 24325. The mayor have received his veto on this specific item. One of the items, it is important to recognize that we voted in favor of the funds to be transferred for the stabilization funds, that if the mayor continue with the veto, the specific quantity that was brought up to the council as of $50 being increased to the homeowners, that was going to take effect. So I'm glad that the mayor have rescinded the veto, and this council have done what the council think is right within the democracy. So at this point, there is no other objection unless that we have. Yeah, we have a communication. Yes. Yeah. Yep. On this item and all business, we have anything. We don't have anything else. Now we're going on top of the agenda, which is the communication from the mayor, city officials, and city attorney. Item 29525, notice of open meeting law violation complaint received on June 29, 2025. On document 19525 on June 29, the city received an open meeting law complaint. The 5 councilors issued a press release together. We believe that the public nature of the press release will satisfy any public disclosure requirement out of an abundance of the caution. We are curing any open meeting law violation that the creation of this press release might have caused. At the advice of the council, of the city attorney, we are going to read the press release info to the record. Claire, do you mind reading the press release?
Press release that reads for immediate release, and it has the Lawrence City Councilors voice concerns over proposed fiscal year 2026 budget and tax implications. Reads Lawrence, Mass, June 27th, 2025. 5 members of the Lawrence City Council today issued a statement expressing significant concerns regarding Mayor Brian DePena's proposed fiscal year 2026 operational budget, specifically highlighting discrepancies between the administration's characterization of a moderate tax increase and the actual projected impact on taxpayers. Contrary to the mayor's memo, the proposed fiscal year 2026 budget is projected to increase taxes to the maximum levy capacity permissible by law under Proposition 2.5, combined with an estimated $1.2 million in new growth. The combined is anticipated to result in an estimated 3.58% direct tax increase for Lawrence residents through the mayor's fiscal year 2026 budget. The council asserts, sorry, I didn't wear my glasses. The council asserts that this figure significantly exceeds what can be considered a moderate increase, representing a substantial rise compared to previous fiscal years. A portion of these increased tax revenues is earmarked for salary adjustments for a select number of employees, which council has deemed unjustifiable at this time. The council has also raised concerns about the mayor's administration's reliance on revolving accounts to distract from the city's fiscal standing. While acknowledging the importance of revolving accounts as an integral part of government operations, the council has emphasized that these accounts are distinct from the city's operating budget. Revolving accounts permit certain departments to expend revenues generated in prior years. To ensure transparency, fiscal responsibility, and uphold their commitment to the citizens of Lawrence, the 5 councils have requested additional comprehensive information on the revenue resources and expenditure plans for these revolving accounts. This information is crucial to alleviate any uncertainties regarding their usage. Revolving accounts in question includes, but are not limited to, those associated with the Veterans Memorial Stadium, PEG access and cable-related funds encompassing 3 city-owned TV channels, elder services, recreation, the library, DPW recycling, and the Bellevue Cemetery. The council awaits this detailed information from Mayor DePena's administration to make informed decisions on these budgetary items. Regarding the city's agenda, item 243-25, a proposed transfer of $6,137,126 from free cash to various accounts, the council, as well recognizing the approaching June 30th fiscal year end deadline, voted to table this item as well with revolving account items. This decision was made in the interest of transparency, allowing for adequate time to review the details, which include components related to the stabilization fund account. The councilors noted that while the administration and some city councilors have issued statements acknowledging potential tax increases, they failed to explicitly state that the actual 3.58% increase, which exceeds the maximum allowed by law. The council has further clarified that this tax increase is not potential but a reality. It is coming directly from the mayor's fiscal year 2026 budget. The councilors who issued a statement criticizing failed to mention their support of the mayor's FY 2026 operational budget and the failure to support proposed cuts to the budget. The 5 councilors remain committed to fiscal prudence and transparency, working diligently to ensure responsibility for the city of Lawrence. Statements from the city council members. Quote, the mayor has failed to protect the best interest of our residents by raising taxes in 2 of his 4 years in office, with a 4% increase in 2025, in FY 2025, and another 3.58% in FY 2026. The majority of these tax increases are being used to cover salary increases, not to improve services for people. I hope these tax hikes do not lead to rent increases for Lawrence residents who need stability the most. City Council President Giovanni Rodriguez at large. Quote, the administration just last night sent an email directing department heads to provide information we have been asking for several weeks. It is equally regrettable that some councils have chosen to misinform the public while asserting that 5 councils voted down programs, when in fact no such vote has happened. We simply requested further clarity and information to make an informed decision. Also, the administration's decision to issue a public statement on behalf of 4 councilors is particularly concerning. City Council Vice President Stephanie Infante, District E. Quote, I vote for transparency and accountability. My responsibility as a city council is to ensure District A families know how every dollar is spent. Trust comes from clarity, not personal attacks. Council Fidelina, Santiago, District A. Quote, I did not vote on summer programs. I didn't vote no on summer programs. I voted no on rushing to approve millions without transparency. The people of Lawrence deserve to know exactly how their money is being spent. Accountability isn't personal, it's our job. Council Wendy Luzon, District B, and quote, my vote reflects the commitment to responsible spending, transparency, and protecting taxpayers from avoidable financial strain, despite the pressure to approve blindly on the budget and transfer of funds that are unjust and unclear. It will be a gross negligence on my part not to ask questions and to be vilified due to the selective outrage from opposing councilors and administration using fear-mongering tactics to turn the community against the very people protecting them. City Council Vivian Marmol, District D.
Thank you very much, councilors. Just so we can understand the feeling of this, the complaint stated that the 5 getting together was a violation of open meeting law. in no way are we admitting that's a violation of the open meeting law. But by placing this in an open meeting, obviously the statements were not in an open meeting, the statements are now in an open public meeting, any possible problem has been corrected. So I appreciate the council doing this, but that will allow me to answer the complaint, and this matter will be done with finally.
So do we need a vote?
No, you've just stated, there's no vote, you just voted to, I will respond.
That's what, the only vote I was gonna ask, did you need a vote authorizing you to respond, or do you just respond? Is that you?
I just respond as the city council, not as the city council, as the city attorney for the council.
All right, no problem. So, all right, we're moving on to the top of the agenda. There is anything missing?
Thank you very
There is
much.
none. Thank you so much. We're going to, we have new business? We have new business. We have new business, which is item 29625, handicap parking, 6 Berkeley Street. That's going to the ordinance committee. Item 29725, handicap parking on 3 Eaton Street. That's going to the ordinance committee. Item 29825, install a JO pole and mid-span pole, P77450 at Mount Vernon Street and Crosswood Circle. That's going to the ordinance committee. Item 29925, install a 1 JO pole and 1 mid-span pole, P74650 on Mount Vernon Street and near James Street. That's going to the ordinance committee. Any subcommittee meetings?
Yeah, so tomorrow night, Council President, we still have a scheduled in ordinance committee. These items were not posted, so we will be taking these matters up tomorrow. That'll probably take place in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, all right. Do any other, housing is also, housing tomorrow 6? All right, housing tomorrow 6 p.m., which we already have a schedule, those 2 meetings. And ordinance is at 7 tomorrow, right? Any other meetings? If there is any other meetings, please communicate with that, with the secretary for the city council to schedule those properly. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
This is a motion by Councilor Levy, second by Councilor Marmol. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Yes.